Hello, Namaste, Salam, Sat Sri Akal, Adab, Kem Chho. How are you all? Today, in this episode of Starwin Conversations, we have an important and a very fun guest with us, Mr. Bilal Siddiqui, who is the author of three different books. One, The Bard of Blood, which is now into a Netflix series as well. Second, the biography of Mr. Imran Hashmi himself, The Kiss of Life. And third, The Phoenix, which is soon to be a movie. Welcome, Bilal, to this episode. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice to be on this podcast with you guys, and best of luck for your endeavors. And just a small correction actually, Phoenix is now my fourth book.
Oh,
There was one before that called The Stardust Affair, and Phoenix actually came out earlier, I mean, 3 or 4 months ago. So let's hope that goes well. It's a fairly new book, and hope people like it when they read
right. So I think I'll have to do better with my research from the
it.
next time around. So yeah, let's start off with the time when you were not into professional writing. You were still a
Mhm.
typical Indian kid going to college, studying, moving out. So how was life back in your city? How was life back in Xavier's College? Talk a bit about it.
So, I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. School was in Mumbai, so was my college, Xavier's, as you mentioned. And I was a student of advertising and journalism,
Mm-hmm.
did BMM. And in one of those lectures that we had during my course, I was lucky enough to be part of this um, conversation with Mr. S. Hussain Zaidi, who's an accomplished writer himself. He's written so many books, Black
Yeah.
Friday, Dongri to Dubai, such all of them bestsellers and very definitive works and of nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a crime journalist, and because he was in the field of journalism and we were journalism students, we got the chance to interact with him and um, just be a part of his lecture, which was encapsulating his journey as a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of that lecture, he needed a team to assist him on writing his next 3 or 4 books that he had in the pipeline. And I volunteered to be part of that team. And I think a lot of us had volunteered, from which we were shortlisted to about 20 of us. And I just from there picked up a lot about writing because that's something I always liked doing, but I never did think. I mean, I never did it thinking it would be a profession, although it was definitely something I was passionate about. And spending enough time with Hussein sir actually taught me, things about the craft itself that eventually helped with time. So, in fact, it's because of Hussein sir that my first book, Bard of Blood, got published. Because at one point, after I had helped him on 2 or 3 books, he asked me if I was writing something of my own. And at that time, I was working on a very initial draft of Bard, and that was just for myself. It was just in my notebooks, and it was something I wrote after college for fun. I didn't think it would get published, but I sent it to him, the Word document version of that, and it was 3 or 4 sample chapters. And he didn't get back to me for like a month, and I thought he really hated it, so I didn't, bring it up again until he told me that he sent those chapters forward to Penguin, my publishers,
Mm-hmm.
and they liked what they read, but because I think I was 19 or something back then, they wanted to read a lot more than 3 or 4 chapters before they took a call to publish it. So suddenly I had this shot at being published, and I wanted to, make the most of it. So I scrapped those chapters, rewrote what was there. Hussein sir himself helped me with research and how to structure a plot and all of that. And when we sent Penguin around half the book, they liked it and they decided to sanction the book. So that's how that book got published. And it's
Right.
actually because of having a mentor like Hussein sir that, I got this like kickstart to a writing career.
Right. So Zaidi sir definitely had a very important role in your life, and I think that time would have been an interesting story in itself. From the time Zaidi sir asked you to volunteer with himself to the time he actually told you that, okay, Bilal, I've shared your book with with Penguin, and they want to see more of the book now. So during that time, how was your lifestyle? How much time would you get for yourself, or was it too hectic? Because as we say about Mumbai, that it's a city that never sleeps. So was it the same for you, or did you have a relaxed lifestyle then?
No, it was a little hectic because I was going to college, which started at 8 a.m.,
Mm-hmm.
got done by around 12. Then I had some time after I helped Hussein on his books to write my own stuff. And I'm a night person in that sense, so a lot of my work happens, my writing work at least happens in the night. So I use that time to consistently, put words down on paper and, uh, reach the finish line of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So it was tiring. The college part of life was tiring because I had to wake up early and stuff. But
Yeah.
the other things I enjoyed quite a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, Zaidi sir is known for his books as well. And when he asked you to write the book, there would definitely have been places where he would have advised you to develop your writing sense in such a way, a writing style in a way. So, want to talk about it?
Oh, he helped me, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, on several aspects of the craft itself, like the technical things of how to structure every chapter, how to make sure something interesting happens, at the beginning and the end,
Mhm.
um, and how to fill the middle portion up. Just stuff like that. How to research characters, how to research the setting. A lot of those things actually he handheld me through in the beginning. And of course, I used to read a lot myself, and a lot of books that I was a fan of, writers that I was a fan of, had an influence in the way I kind of, which helped me shape my own writing style. And it was Hussain sir who uh, told me several things that I still use till now for when I sit down to write. Is just things like how nowadays books, at least the kind of books that I write, are competing for a viewer's attention the way a more visual medium like a show or a film would. So how do you
Right.
match up to that? How do you make how do you give an experience that is not entirely visual but cinematic in a certain sense? So just stuff like that, which serves well for my kind of writing, is things that I imbibe from him.
Mhm.
May not serve well for all kinds of writing, but
Right.
definitely the books that I enjoy writing, I do kind of use those techniques. And yeah, there's a lot to learn, still learning. Hopefully, one day can be as good as Hussain Sir himself. Let's see.
Yeah, so Bilal, as we were going through some of your life moments, we came to know that a friend's girlfriend can change your life. So, how would you like to share the story of your friend's girlfriend incident which happened with you?
Oh, it's not an incident per se, it's just something. So while I was writing the book, I actually met a friend who I knew since I was in second standard, and he had shifted back then to Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
And I told him about the book I was writing, and he just told me that, the girl I'm seeing, her father was in the CIA. So if you have a bunch of questions to ask him, just send them to me and I'll facilitate, uh, you know, a discussion. So a few question answers were exchanged, which just helped me with the setting of the book. It just helped me get an understanding of what the West's point of view is on the conflict that I chose for Bard of Blood. So yeah, I actually didn't end up meeting him or anything. It's just through interactions and via my friend and his girlfriend who I met at that point. It's just those things that help me uh, just add a flavor to the book that wasn't. I don't know if it would have been there had I not met my friend.
Right. So the book was Bard of Blood while you were researching about it, and then the book got adapted into a Netflix series. So, how did the writing experience change while writing for a medium that will be visual, because writing for a book, in my opinion, would be different than writing a script which would become a show.
Yeah, in my opinion too, actually, it's just so different because of the medium itself. When you're writing a book, it's a more singular process. You're doing it alone. There's no team of directors, actors, producers, co-writers working on it at the same time together. So uh, all of them obviously are respectable people with more experience and great points of what do you say, discussion that arise when you discuss a story with them.
Mhm.
But when you write a book, it's you and the few people you choose to work with or share the material with. So to answer your question, actually, is the medium of screenwriting is so much more visual because you can't write a paragraph of what's in a character's mind. You have to show what he's doing uh, through action, through movement, through decisions that he takes that are visual, that shows what's going on in his mind. Versus on in a book, you can write a paragraph of what is actually playing in his mind,
Mhm.
even though you don't have to necessarily show him do anything. So it's just like very small things like that. Like screenwriting is show, don't tell, but books are tell. It's okay because you can't show. So
Right.
obviously, you should paint a good picture in your viewers, reader's mind, because it's their interpretation of what the words on the page are. Versus when you're shooting it, it's a director's interpretation of what the words are, because he translates a script to a visual medium, right?
Yeah.
So they're just two very different kinds of writing, technically also.
Right. Yeah.
So the first book written by you was a fiction, and the second book, which you wrote, was a biography. That too of
Mm.
Mr. Imran Hashmi, who himself is a very renowned actor and personality. So why did you prefer this, change, and what was your experience when you changed this writing type?
Um, Honestly, when I got the opportunity to write Imran's book, that was at the point that I just completed Bard and it was going to get published. And I met Imran because of Hussain sir, because they knew each other from before, several years before that. And at that point, I think Imran had just defeated cancer, and it was obviously very fresh in his mind, and he wanted to put down those thoughts on paper. Uh, he didn't believe he's a good enough writer to do it by himself, but obviously, as we sat down and started writing, a lot of the things that he wrote were so good in a way that it could just be published directly. But also, he had these really gruesome feelings. So, between all of that, writing the book entirely by himself, he knew it would be a little tough, which is why we kind of, Hussein sir introduced the two of us and we started, jamming, and he started recounting the incidents in his life and um, just telling me in detail from the day his son Ayan was diagnosed to the final day that he battled it, along with very like important landmark moments in Imran's own career. We decided to like tell the book in a structure which marked out both Ayan's battle with the disease as well as Imran's own journey in film. And we didn't want it to be a very grim book. It had to be something that was that brought hope to those who read it, or uh, in a way, even a layman's guide to cancer, just do's and don'ts in an everyday scenario, what you can do to not prevent it, but at least avoid to the best of your abilities. So for me, that was a very different kind of book. And obviously, I was telling a real story this time. So there's that many few liberties you can take. So, it was him telling me these instances and me putting it down in a way that uh, would be interesting to a reader, not not how do I say, not like a newspaper article, but still serve as a form of a coherent narrative. So it was a very different kind of writing for me because it was non-fiction. It was a real story. It was based on someone's life who wanted to tell a story which was inspiring as well as very obviously heartbreaking at many points of time. So it was definitely an interesting experience and helped shape. I think it helped shape me as a writer better than my first book did.
That's definitely good to hear. So, one of your book, The Phoenix, is now getting adapted into a movie, and
Hmm.
I don't know which stage the movie is in right now. And if you would
Oh,
want to,
it's actually very early because of the whole. So Phoenix, I wrote the book somewhere in Jan 2019. I started writing. It got done by August 2019.
uh-huh.
At that time, I spoke to Hussein sir about it. I thought it was an interesting concept. It was about a bioweapon and um, a havoc a virus could cause, and an agent racing against time to stop it. And all of it felt very novel until November. And the book was actually slated to release in November, December, and then the virus broke out. And sorry, it was supposed to come out in Feb, but the virus obviously came in
Yeah.
November in China. And then from there, it just things got delayed so much so that after the lockdown, like, when things started moving a bit, was when the book was published. So suddenly it looked like the book was written after
Yeah.
whatever happened. But actually, it was written way before that. It was just strange. It was very strange. So as for the film, at that point, the rights were picked up by a company. Uh, they'll talk about it when they have to develop into a film. But then obviously the virus changed a lot of things, right, for every industry, including the film industry. So
Yeah.
I don't know what stage it is at right now, but let's see. I hope something comes out of it.
So you have a collaboration with Red Chillies Entertainment with this film. Why don't you talk about? I mean, like for me, meeting with Shah Rukh Khan would be a great thing.
Hmm.
For a few minutes, I will freeze actually if he's in front of me. So, how was meeting with Shah Rukh Khan? How did working with him professionally go?
I actually worked at Red Chillies in 2015, Red Chillies and KKR actually in 2015 when I wrote their online blogs. It was a small internship gig, which actually materialized just by virtue of me staying on, joining the marketing team, working in the digital team. Um, and it's during that experience that I met Shah Rukh sir and got a chance to give him the first copy of Bard of Blood that had come for me. And just that day, he happened to be in the office, so I just waited until I could, get 2-3 minutes from him and give him that book. And it was a great point in my life for sure because it was such a game changer. I think he read the book later on, tweeted about it like 2 or 3 months later, and I was still in the marketing team. And it's just through that whole experience that I saw him work up front and close. And just it was very inspiring. It still is inspiring to see him work and put it all in every day. And he's just such a, I mean, what do you say about him that's not said already? It's just like such a talented person. Is just inspiring being in the same room as him. So a lot of the inspiration that I get to work or put in my best foot forward is actually from seeing Shah Rukh sir, Hussein sir, Imran, all of them. It's just I've been lucky to have witnessed all of these people up close because they're definitely the best at what they do. So yeah, like you said. I mean, even I froze the first time I saw him. So that's just the effect he has on people.
Right. Yeah. So now what we'll want to do is we'll want to know more about Bilal and much more intimately, much more about his personal things. So we'll have a
Why? Who
well,
wants to
I
know?
well, I think the why would come from the audience itself.
Okay, so Bilal, there's only one rule to the game. You have to
Mm.
tell us the first thought which comes in your mind after listening to our questions.
I'm going to stick to that rule for sure.
Okay, so the first question is, if you could be any animal, what would it be?
A dog.
And any reason why?
I like dogs.
Okay. Who do you admire the most?
SRK, Imran, Hussain sir, not in any particular order, but all of them have had such a great impact on my life. So, yeah. I mean, outside of obviously like my parents and all, I'm guessing you want an answer that is not family.
Yeah. Okay. Who is your favorite cartoon character?
Dexter.
If you get to meet a genie, what are the three wishes which you want to be granted?
Get the vaccine out fast and give it to me soon, and let me stop wearing this mask again.
Okay. When you received your first paycheck or your first salary, what did you do with it?
I think I bought video games. I didn't.
Seems
There's
like
no
you are a
like.
video game freak.
Yeah, I didn't do anything substantial with it. I just bought my own video games instead of my mom buying them for me.
Okay. One dream on which you are still working and want to get done very fast and soon.
Um, One dream. I don't know. I like doing what I do, so in that sense, I just want to continue writing and have more work out there and work that I like, not work that is average. I mean, I want to push myself to do better. So that's something.
If you can get a superpower, what would it be?
Superpower. I don't know if I want one also. Okay, wait.
Okay.
I don't know. Fly, I guess. What's the point of being a superhero if you can't fly? Just get the
Yeah.
main one. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can have access to a time machine, where would you like to go back to?
I would like to go back to the Shakespearean era when he was writing plays at that point and see them as he wrote them.
Okay. So the last question is, uh, describe Bilal Siddiqui in 3 words.
This guy, boring, antisocial. Antisocial is one word, two words, so three.
Oh, it's a one word. We'll count it as one.
Okay, okay. Um, mm, I don't know. Okay, boring, antisocial, and um, I don't know. That's all there is to me. I don't know what you're looking for.
Then I think I'll add to it that very good author.
Not punctual. Uh,
Okay. So here we are done with all our questions, and thank you so much, Bilal, for answering
Thank
all
you
the
so much. It was
questions.
fun actually. It was great fun being on this.
But that was surprising that a master of words stopped and was trying to think 3 words for himself.
No, that's the thing. You know, when I'm with pen, paper, and there's no one I'm interacting with, words come easier to me. That's
Where do you
why
sit
I
and
said
write?
boring and antisocial.
Where do you sit and write?
Where do I sit and write?
Yeah.
The desk. I don't know. Is there somewhere else some people
No,
write?
no. So we had one author who used to write in a coffee shop. So that then I started asking.
No, I can't. I can't take that. There's just too many people. You know. I don't. There are. A friend once said this to me. There are two kinds of writers, and both of them don't write at coffee shops.
Well, the other one might take it in a different
No, I know. I'm joking. I'm sure
way.
he does great work.
Yeah, 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 she does. She
My
does.
friend said this. I'm not saying this, so
Of
you
course,
can
of
be.
course, of course. That's the friend's problem. That's not ours. That's on him or
Yeah.
us.
Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah. So, Bilal, before we close, so there are projects that you are definitely doing, but those are on the professional side that you are doing. So, of course, in one way or the other, audience would definitely get to know them through your social accounts, through the publishers, through the entertainment
Yeah.
producers. But apart from that, is there anything that you would want to share with the audience that is usually not in public, but you think is very important to you?
You mean in terms of what I'm working on?
Anything, what you're working on, what you want to work on, nothing that
Also,
is right
I
now.
want to work on something that's a a comedy. Done a bunch of thrillers. I've done one piece of nonfiction in the
Yeah,
form of Imran's book.
yeah.
I just want to work on maybe a comedy that resonates with people our age, uh, a, a contemporary Indian comedy book, and I don't know when, but I have some thoughts in mind, and hopefully I can get the time to put that down, But the thing is, like, I have so many different thoughts every 3 4 days,
Hmm.
but I'm so lazy, I don't end up putting them down unless there's like a deadline or someone has like made me, there's a contract that holds me to it. So it's just something that, but this is something I'm very keen on doing. So hopefully I'll try to do it this year.
So you want to write a book that is, I mean, the genre of which is comedy, or you want to get that
Yeah,
into a
something.
show?
Um, Either. The idea is to like write a book about our generation that actually encapsulates who we are,
Hmm. Hmm.
versus something that about us, their perspective of what we are. So I think that's important about what our views are, just in social settings, and
Hmm.
our views are towards relationships and all, tell in a funny manner.
Right.
So that's something that hopefully, I don't know, I'm still toying with it because I want it to be a book of funny characters and just try something new. But I hope I end up doing it.
Right. And I think it would be a very welcome change in the kind of books that is usually written. Uh,
Yeah,
so comedy is
especially
not usually written.
yeah, that's the attempt actually, and it's to try and also move away from what I've been working on so far, which are more, thrillers and fiction and all of that. This is something that hopefully, even though if it's fiction, could resonate with people in a more relatable way. So let's see. I'm still playing with some ideas. Hopefully something comes out of it.
The last question actually relates to the first thing. So, as far as I understand, the first in everybody's life is important. First book, first relationship, first movie outing, first foreign trip, first friends fight, anything for that matter. So,
Mm.
how was the when the first book got published? You said that you were writing it in your notebook. It just so happened that, as you also said, that you were at the right place at the right time. So
Yeah.
in that context, how do you see when the first book came to your hand published? How did it feel to you?
Oh, that's what. So the day it came to me was the day I took it to office to show my colleagues because I was like thrilled beyond measure because it felt surreal, right? You
Yeah.
didn't imagine it. I didn't imagine it to happen, and then it's there right there in my hands. And what happens usually is the publishers print from the entire print run. They send one author copy in advance before they send the rest, 10,
Mhm.
15 copies that they do. And that's the copy that came to me, and it was special as it is. And then what made it even better was that's the day SRK just came to office before he was leaving for a long schedule abroad to shoot. So that first copy that came to me, like without thinking twice, I just gave it to him.
Yeah.
So that's something that'll definitely stay with me. And he
Right.
actually tweeted about that book and stuff. We took a picture with it, and he tweeted about it 3 months later, and it was obviously like the greatest moment of my life in that form. My first book, and then someone I idolized doing that. So yeah, that's what it was. It was a dream.
Uh, Bilal, if I have to say one thing from this conversation, that would be that you have been very honest in the sense that if you didn't like, you said that you didn't like. If you have seen people, being playing pivotal role in your life. You have all the gratitude for them, which is just so amazing to see. And what I take out of this whole conversation is that, as Bilal says, that he was at the right place at the right time. But what was also going on the other end was that he was prepared when the right time or the right place comes. And I think that's a great thing for a person who describes himself as boring and antisocial for I don't know why.
That's very kind of you, but yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, obviously, it's you're getting a shot at doing what you love doing for a living,
Yeah,
and it'd be stupid if you don't take it, right? Otherwise, I'd get boxed into a day job against my wishes and then live a mundane life.
right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it would just be miserable to let this pass, knowing that there's an opportunity. But thank you. I mean, very kind words from you. And
I don't
it's
know, for some
definitely.
reason Bilal is very bad with taking compliments. I don't know why,
No,
but
I'm saying thank you.
right. So thank you so much, Bilal, for joining us. We
Thank
are
you so
really
much.
hoping
This was great fun.
to see your book on comedy come out definitely, and whenever
Hopefully,
the
I'll
book
definitely send you all a copy and stuff.
right, and whenever the
And
book
good
comes
luck
out,
with this podcast. Which one? It's not even written. I don't know when it come out.
whenever it comes, we are eagerly excited from now. So
Yeah.
we think about it the
Thank
day
you.
it comes.
Thank you
So
so
thank you
much.
so much for joining in, and to our
Thank you
audience.
so much. This was great fun.
Yeah, so to our audience, we'll add a few Amazon links to Bilal's book that you can go buy, read them all, and you can reach out to Bilal on his social media handles. And thank you so much, Bilal, for joining in. Thank you so much, audience, for
Thank you
listening.
so
It
much.
was
It was very good talking to you all. Thank you.
all right. Bye bye, audience.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Bilal.
you for your time. Bye. Thank you.
Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for latest updates.